When more than 20% of orders for a program are cancelled effectively overnight, definitely shockwaves are going to be felt right across that program, but the broader industry. AirAsia X's landmark cancellation of one of the largest orders placed for this program in the early stages of 2022 was a decision that followed years of turmoil. Why was the aircraft ordered in such a sheer scale to begin with? What led to the cancellation, and how has the airline moved forward without this aircraft playing the role that was initially intended? Well, AirAsia X's landmark purchase occurred in 2014 and represented one of the most critical deals since at the time the widebody's conception. As part of the commitment, the airline became the launch customer for the next generation widebody and committed to 50 A330-900s, part of the A330neo family. The deal, initially signed as an MOU, was with the airline's long-term intent to replace the A330ceo, which was only with time going to continue to show signs of age. First delivery for the A330neo was scheduled in 2018, which was to be 4 years after the first purchase. For AirAsia X, the purchase of the Neo sparked many internal discussions about what their future would look like, and what a deal for the modest widebody would mean for its outstanding A350 order. By the 2018 edition of the Farnborough Air Show, a further 34 A330neos would be ordered. This was a sizable contract yet again, and would cement AirAsia X as the largest customer, with its number of jets ordered jumping to 100. They viewed the A330neo as the perfect model for, more specifically, non-stop services to Europe, with suitable range and also capacity, meaning Kuala Lumpur to London operations would come with lower operating costs. All in all, the acquisition would align with the airline's long-standing business model, and across the long term, enable it to fly farther while also offering more competitive airfares that could shake up specific markets. For AirAsia X, unfortunately, just as the A330neo orders had been confirmed, substantial turbulence across the airline's operations hit, impacting future deals such as these. Described still as one of the more turbulent periods in the airline's history, a financial collapse that led to a major restructuring hampered the airline for years and affected previously outlined strategies. Being a low-cost carrier comes with additional pressures that a full-service operator does not face to the same extent. For AirAsia X, its long-proven business model began to show cracks in the latter stages of the 2010s. The airline was facing a weakened Malaysian dollar and further competition from other low-cost airlines on route segments that it had long sought to dominate. With that in mind, it meant that change was required to see sustained profitability. Unfortunately, AirAsia X was among the handful of airlines already facing financial challenges before the COVID-19 pandemic, and while there is no perfect time for something like this to occur, for the already struggling airlines, it added a mountain of pressure that absolutely was not needed during that point. For this business, when the Malaysian government imposed strict border regulations, the core of AirAsia X's operation could no longer continue, halting its day-to-day flying and causing problems to increase tenfold in really just a matter of hours. With minimal flying and already a precarious financial position, revenue collapsed, and staggering losses were reported over 2 years, necessitating several restructuring measures to be implemented in order to help prevent the airline from a complete collapse. Major decisions had to be made at the airline group to ensure their survival, and these were not always easy. These decisions still affecting the airline, if we're being honest, as we've now passed the midway point of the decade. With mounting pressure on AirAsia X, in April 2022, a monthly report published by Airbus, which dives into their orders and deliveries, revealed that 63 A330neos had been cancelled. At the time, the deal was actually a major setback for the A330neo program. It was coming during a period when, you may remember, the program was struggling to really attract orders, and with AirAsia having committed so heavily, it represented a large share of the backlog, which now no longer existed. Ultimately, however, the cancellation was viewed by most as just a mere formality. Analysts speaking with various publications said that while this was a major order cancellation, it didn't necessarily come as a shock, as for years, as touched on, AirAsia X had struggled and was adjusting its fleet mix to cope with poor performance. So orders such such as these were doubtful to be included in the airline's annual planning. Becoming a leaner company is common for airlines experiencing financial problems. This gives the business in the spotlight the opportunity to limit its flying, focusing more strictly on profitable markets and thereby reducing operational expenses. Airlines like Norwegian have gone through the same thing, emerging now in a more positive state and finally seeking to grow. Even look at Spirit Airlines. They've entered bankruptcy for the second time in as many years, but they're already doing something very similar, axing a large portion of their operations to try and be more sustainable. Now, even without the bulk of the A330neo order, AirAsia X has confirmed its intent to move back towards becoming an all-narrowbody operator by the 2030s. What this will mean is the A330ceo jets intended to be replaced by the A330neo will be retired in favor of single-aisle models. Changes to the business model, such as what AirAsia X is looking to make in the coming years, highlight truly just how much an industry and airline can change in the space of a decade. The large A330neo order seeming more like a distant memory and tracking back to a very different airline to what is present today from its current standpoint in the industry to even just its general operations. Keen to hear your take down below in the comments. Thanks for your support here on GlobeTrotting. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you in a couple of days for more industry analysis.
And we'll fly.